Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2020 Neighborhood Co-op Virtual Farm Crawl. Tonight's session is about pasture-raised hogs and the on-farm food hub at Big Muddy Hogs in Hearst, Illinois. We'll be hearing from Roger Schuttek, the farmer at Big Muddy Hogs. They are a pasture-based, farrow-to-finish heritage breed hog farm. My name is Jennifer Paulson. I'm the Executive Director of FoodWorks. We are a nonprofit organization growing the sustainable food economy in Southern Illinois through programs like the Southern Illinois Farm Beginnings Program, the Winter Farmers Market in Carbondale, Illinois, and the Southern Illinois Farming Alliance of Sustainable Farmers. A big thanks to our partners on this event, the Neighborhood Co-op. I'd like to introduce Amy Dion, my co-host.
Thank you, Jennifer. My name's Amy Dion. I'm the brand manager for the Neighborhood Co-op Grocery. We aim to serve the needs of our owners and patrons by providing wholesome foods economically in a cooperative tradition in ways that best promote the health and the individual, the community, and the earth. I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors that help make this event possible. Those sponsors are AES Solar, Illinois Stewardship Alliance, the Pasture Project, Leaf Online Farmers Market, and Rooted in Foods. To learn more about them, please visit our Farm Crawl website at neighborhood.coop/2020 Farm Crawl. I'd also like to take a quick moment to talk about two fundraisers that we are hosting for FoodWorks. In a normal year, patrons of this event would purchase a car pass to tour farms. That is not possible this year. So instead, we partnered with Leaf to produce meal kits. These meal kits contain fresh ingredients from our local sustainable farmers, and in each box includes a recipe card and links to cooking videos. There are several different kits you can choose from. The orders must be placed online and are available through Thursday, October 8th, which is tomorrow. The second one we have is a specially designed shirt and sweatshirt that is available to purchase online as well. We do offer adult and youth sizes. Those are going to be available through October 14th, and all the proceeds from both of those fundraisers are going to go to help the great things that FoodWorks takes care of throughout the year. So if you would take a look at that, and we'd appreciate your help. And Jennifer, if you'd like to get us started.
Great, thanks, Amy. So I want to let you know our plan tonight is to be showing two videos of the farm. The first about focusing on the farm itself, and the second focusing on the food hub they have there. After each video, we'll have a short Q&A with Roger. So please ask your questions through the chat function, and you can ask them throughout the videos, and we'll ask them when it's time for Q&A. So if you want right now, try out the chat function just by typing where you're from. Where are you tuning in from tonight into the chat? If you are not familiar with Zoom, look at the bottom of your screen. You should see a button for chat and be able to go from there. So a little bit of housekeeping. I want to let everyone know they were muted on entering into the Zoom meeting tonight. Please leave yourself on mute. It helps to cut down background noise and help us hear our speaker. I also want to let you know that this is being recorded. And so we plan to release the recordings of all the videos from the farm crawls next week via email. So if you've registered for tonight, you'll be getting that email next week. So with that, Amy, do you want to play the first video?
Yep. Let's see, let's get started here.
Farm located in Hearst, Illinois. We raise heritage breed hogs out on pasture. We're farrow to finish. That means we do keep a sow herd, and they have babies here, and they're raised here their whole life. Say the farm's about 30 acres. say, let's see, the breeds we raise are primarily Mulefoot and Red Wattle. We chose those breeds because they have better instincts than a lot of other breeds. So they do well outside. They have really good mothering instincts, and the quality of meat from these particular breeds is much better than what you conventionally see normally at the grocery store. They're a lot more marbled and not dry would be a easy way to describe that. The way we raise our hogs here, it's a much more humane, more natural setting. They're outside, they're in the woods like they're supposed to be. They're able to eat a diverse diet of a lot of different things. They forage and graze, as opposed to being locked in a barn, eating only a corn-based feed. A benefit to the way we raise them, they're stress-free. They're not overcrowded like they are in the big factory type farms. So we don't really have to give antibiotics or any of the other medications that they do to keep them healthy in those factory type settings. They're more healthy just because they're in a cleaner, more natural setting. Well, when the sow farrows, she normally goes off in the woods. If the weather's nice enough, we'll let her do it on her own. She'll go out and make a nest. You know, she'll have her babies. Pretty much from my perspective, she'll just disappear for about a week or two, and then she'll come back up with anywhere from, 8 to 10 to 12 little babies following her. They nurse on the mom for at least 6 weeks, preferably longer than that. As long as they can nurse and the sow doesn't start losing too much weight, we try not to forcefully wean the babies. I think it's just better and less stress on everybody if we let the sow do it. Some sows are really good about it, some are not. The ones that aren't, what happens is you'll see them lose weight. If they start looking like they are losing too much weight, then we'll wean just to protect the sow, because if she loses too much weight, that's not good for her. It's stressful. And it's certainly not good for the babies either, because if she starts getting in less good condition, then she may start getting a little aggressive towards the babies. If she's wanting them to stop nursing, she may hurt them, bite them, whatever. And then they usually stay with the mom just until they're weaned, and then we move them to another group where they've got they're with the feeder herd. Then they've got access to all the non-GMO grain they want, plus all the open space and pasture and sunshine. They stay here until they get fully grown. Normally it takes anywhere from 6 months up to, some of them take 8 or 10 months. It depends on the breeds. And like the little boys, they grow a little bit faster than the girls do. The barrows, they might take 6 or 7 months to finish. The little gilts, they take a little bit longer. We like to just let them do their own thing outside. When they get to about 250 to 280 pounds is really my target. That's when they go to our USDA inspected processor. It's really local too. That way they don't have to be trailered very far, because that's another stressful thing we try to avoid. I don't want to have to haul them hours away, because it's just not good. You work so hard to give them a stress-free life. It just doesn't make any sense to ruin all that on the very last day. So that's what we do. When we do take them into the processor, they know we're not in a hurry. When we're unloading everything, we don't push them or hit them. We don't use prods or anything like that. Sometimes it takes a long time to get them off the trailer, but it's very important that they're handled gently and stress-free. If you're going to raise livestock to feed people, the livestock deserves respect. They deserve a good life. Just because they're ultimately going to be food doesn't mean that they should have to suffer. It's just counterproductive in my opinion. There's no need for it. We always take them to USDA inspected processor. That's how, that's one of the requirements to be able to sell the product to the people, the customers. As far as the breeding herd, boars can stay on the farm. I think the oldest boar we've ever had that was still able to do what they do 5-6 years now. If you're careful, if you don't overfeed them because if you overfeed them, they'll just get gigantic, and then they're, they could injure another pig. Now the sows, I don't really have a time span that I keep them. It really depends on how good they do. If they're still having lots of babies and doing all right, they can stay here. Our oldest sow right now, she's about 8 years old. She is one of our best sows too. She's the type that she will disappear when it's time to farrow and, come back a week or two later with a dozen babies. That's what we like. We don't use farrowing crates. I just detest that. There's no reason for that. It's stressful for the sow. Just a bad beginning for the piglets. They need to be outside. They need to be on the ground. That way they can root around in the dirt. They get their minerals and their iron from the soil. We don't have to give iron shots like they do conventionally because they're getting all that just from the environment. And just doing everything the way we do. They just seem to be healthy naturally. We don't use antibiotics. It's not necessary. Now, if I have a sick mama sow, we'll take care of her. We'll treat her. We're not going to let something go, and not take care of her. But as a rule, we do not put any antibiotics or any sort of medications in their feed. Now we do worm the babies one time when they're little, just to make sure there's no parasites or anything. But the best way to get rid of parasites is just to move the pigs enough. The hogs routine is I'm actually a little jealous of the hogs routine. They get up usually around 7 o'clock or so. They munch and get their breakfast and everything, and they get their fill. Then they go and lay around and nap. Maybe get back up around noon or so, and then just kind of do the whole cycle again. They really got a stress-free life, and they just, they make the best of it. We really ought to take a lesson from them. They don't have to get up early and do anything. They just relax. Usually I get up around 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I like to get up really early. I don't necessarily get up and run outside and start working. Early morning, I like to relax and have my coffee. But while I do that, that's when we do the office type work. And that's the part that nobody really wants to have to do. 6:30, 7 o'clock, I like to do my first check, go, walk around, check all the fences, make sure everybody's okay, make sure all the water barrels are full, and just get everything going, make sure there's no problems. Because as soon as you don't check something like that, if you get lazy and skip a day, that's when there'll be a tree branch on the fence or something. And rest assured, they will find it before you do. It's much easier to check and take care of that, as opposed to having to chase them around and try to get them to go back into where they're supposed to be. Now, if they ever do get on the wrong side of the fence, they're not going to run off or anything because they're smart. They know they've got everything they need here. A lot of times when one of them gets out of the fence, it's actually by mistake. They didn't mean to. They'll try to get back in on their own a lot of times. So that makes it kind of nice. I don't try to make pets out of every hog on the farm, but I do keep them accustomed to being around me, and they know what a feed bucket is. So if somebody gets out or we have a problem, they're going to follow me with a bucket because they know it's snack time. So we kind of use their bellies to keep them doing what they should be doing. Most people just want to see the babies, really, to be honest. They want to see, people want to come, they want to see that the animals aren't being abused, they're not being mistreated. That's why we welcome people. I mean, the farm store is open every single day. We welcome people to come out and check out the farm. That's the best way. I mean, you can put anything you want on a label, and the big guys, that's what they do. They try to greenwash everything and make it look like everything's outside on pasture, when in reality it's not. I think it's a much better way just to show people than to try to claim anything on a label or in an advertisement. We have a lot of visitors that, I mean, they may not even come to buy anything. They just come to just kind of hang out and look around, and we welcome that anytime, pretty much anytime during business hours. You can come visit the farm and see how we do everything. It's a lot harder when you are a small farmer, because you don't have big ag advocating for you and selling your products for you. To farm this way, you've got to pretty much direct market. You've got to have that relationship with your customer, and you've always got to be working to build and improve that relationship with your customers. The type of people that want to come get this type of food, they are conscious about how everything is raised, what they're fed. Do you give them antibiotics or steroids or anything like that? We use the smaller local processors. They're nothing like the large, gigantic packers that the big conventional farms use. There's, they don't have hundreds of people on staff cutting and everything. That's part of the reason why it costs a little bit more to get processing done when you're small scale, because you don't have those gigantic economies of scale. It could cost anywhere from $200 to $250 to have one hog processed. The big guys aren't paying that much. They have it down to where they do things so fast. It just, I don't think it's good for the people that work there. I don't think it's good for the customers. I really don't think it's good for the animals. It's a stressful environment there. I mean, those lines, if you've ever seen videos of those cutting lines, I mean, people are shoulder to shoulder, and it just goes by so fast. I feel like using the smaller processors, there's a closer connection. If I need something specific done a certain way, it's going to be done right. They care more. They do a good job, because if I don't sell the products, then I won't have more to bring to them. So it's a relationship between small businesses that helps keep the small farm economy going for everyone. Without the small processors, you won't have small farms. We have processing dates scheduled forever. Every few weeks, we have one already scheduled. It's more a matter of how many we can take each time. I know some folks aren't that lucky if they don't have stuff scheduled already. Some of the places are completely booked up well into next year right now. So that's just yet another hurdle for the small farmer. And with so little options, it really that's a problem that could put a lot of people out of business, because what good is it to raise such a fantastic product if when it's ready to be harvested, you can't do it? I mean, there's no options. If you can't take something in and have it USDA inspected, processed, you can't sell that product. So that puts a lot of small farms at a great disadvantage. The way the system is set up, it benefits the big guys. We lived in town, and we come out here, enjoyed, just being a little closer to nature outside. We thought we were homesteaders, we live in the woods. It just, we got about half a dozen or so chickens at first, just for eggs for ourselves. We decided, well, let's raise a few pigs to put meat in the freezer, that went pretty well. We shared the meat with friends and family, and people asked us for more. Hey, are you going to raise any more of those? So the next year we did a little bit more. It's turned into it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. To do this full time, you have to be really dedicated. You're always on the job no matter what. It's not something you can clock out at 5 o'clock and go home and just relax, because as soon as you're not paying attention, that's when something will happen. You'll need to be out here taking care of your stock. The way animals are raised, it really upsets me. I would say a big part of why I do this is because it gives me an opportunity. Pigs are going to be raised for food. Maybe I can make some of them's lives better and more humane. And if I can help other farmers find sources for places to sell their products, that makes it even better. The more small farms that work together and cooperate, the more you're going to establish a strong local food system, because that's important. It's important to the communities. It's important to your health. We all seen during COVID what can happen when one link falls out of the food chain. The whole thing collapses, the whole thing crumbles. We didn't have a problem of running out of food. When you couldn't find much on the grocery store shelves, all the small farmers really stepped up, and we took we took care of our customers. We didn't run out of food. We showed people that community-based, smaller food systems are so much more resilient and better, because maybe if I say I don't have something here, we've got so many other farmers I can call. Hey, do you have this? And work together and feed the community. I think instead of farmers worrying about feeding the globe, we should first worry about feeding our community, because that's more important. And if everybody started working towards that goal, then we will feed the world.
All right. Well, I can say Amy and I had a really wonderful time, Roger, coming out to your farm and learning so much. We're going to do a little bit of Q&A, just a few questions now before we head off to look at the next video. So, Roger, one of the things I was curious about, you had talked about how your land has changed since you have had pasture-based hogs. Do you want to talk about what it sort of looked like and what that transition has been?
Sure. When we come out here, all this out here, it used to be coal mine and railroad type businesses out here. When that went away, there was no management whatsoever. All the land was just kind of left to grow up, and it was completely overgrown with all sorts of invasive species. I know when the coal mine closed down, just a little bit north of us, I know they brought in a lot of stuff like the autumn olive and that sort of stuff to hold the soil. Well, that stuff takes over. All that stuff, it's hard to eliminate that. What it does is that grows and it shades the ground, and it doesn't let any kind of grasses grow on the ground. So then you end up with land that's unusable. It's covered in honeysuckle and sticker bushes and a Russian olive. If you run the pigs through there, they love it. They eat that stuff. They root up the soil, they dig, and you'll find after they've been through a spot, you'll start seeing grasses coming up. And it's not something that we planted. It was native species of grasses and different forages that come up that was growing here, 50, 60 years ago before all that. And another thing they do when you run hogs through, they spread the manure for you. They till up the soil a little bit. You let them do that. You don't have to run the tractor and burn diesel. It's a more natural and organic method of reclaiming land. So it works together. They improve their own places, and then so the next time they go through that area, there'll be more healthy forages for them to consume. So
Interesting. Thank you. Amy, do you have a question?
Yeah, in the video we see the pigs drinking out of a water barrel. I know when we were there, you talked about the changes you make like during the seasons through the summer and the winter. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Usually 10 or 11 months out of the year when it's not freezing cold, we can use just water barrels, and we put gravity flow nipples on the bottom of the barrels. Basically, when the pigs bite down on them, the water comes out. It's a real simple, cheap way to keep them in water. That way you're not bringing them water multiple times a day. You can put 50 gallons in each one. Now, the month or two out of the year when it is too cold, when those drinkers actually freeze up, then we use just, rubber and plastic bowls. I like to cut 55-gallon barrels in half long ways. Then you just have to fill them up 4 or 5 times a day. But it's real easy because when they freeze, you just flip them over and, stomp on them, bust the ice out of them. Luckily, we only have to do that maybe a month or so out of the year.
Nice.
Great. I want to remind folks that if they have any questions for Roger, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll get them in this session or in the next Q&A session. We have one really great question from the audience that I can't wait to hear what you say, Roger. Someone asks, they have 15 pounds of bacon. What should they make?
Wow. I tell you. Option.
Have a party.
But you can do bacon's like the duct tape of the culinary world. You can pretty much make anything better with bacon.
Another thing, when we were there, I saw you had said that was pretty interesting was the pigs and their tails. The difference between your farm and an overstocked farm.
Sure, that's one of the nasty little details of the confinement farm world. They put so many animals together in such a small space, confined. It's a very stressful environment. They'll bicker and they'll actually chew on each other's tails just out of boredom, and that causes infection and causes problems for the pigs. So instead of just moving them outside like a rational person, they just cut the tails off, which I don't know if removing a part of an animal is a good way to manage that animal, but unfortunately that's the common practice in the larger conventional farms. We don't have to do anything like that here. They're happy and calm and stress-free just naturally.
Yeah, I will say, visiting your farm for the first time, I was impressed. I mean, it's very clean. I mean, even with all the pigs, it's not rutted up. I mean, they seem happy, and I know they were very welcoming to us.
If you've ever smelled what it smells like in the neighborhoods or around the big factory farms, when you're here, you're around at least a couple hundred hogs. You don't smell that nasty smell of the manure, because when they're outside and they're moved around, they spread that out, and it's not really concentrated. So that's another positive for this type of management.
Right. Nice.
I think we should move on to the next video. I think if anyone has questions, well, we do have one more question. Maybe I'll just ask it now because it's a quick one. How many pigs do you have?
Right now, we have 25 sows in our breeding herd, and we keep 4 different boars. Now, that's just the breeders. Now, the feeder pigs, and I consider anything from little babies all the way up to fully grown. We've got roughly 200 right now at last head count. Actually, that's probably a little bit more now because when I did my evening chores, I seen a new litter. So I look forward to checking on that here in the next couple days when Mama Sow is comfortable enough to let me approach the nest.
Great. All right, well, let's see the next video. This video is about the on-farm food hub that they have. So we'll get to take a look at it. And Amy, are you ready?
Yep.
All right.
When we first started the farm, we really just raised a lot of laying hens. We did a few little farmers markets in the area, and we sold a lot of eggs at the co-op grocery store there in Carbondale. We decided to open the shop around 2016. Just when you go to a farmer's market, you got to be gone most of the day. And sure enough, that's when you'll have like a tree branch fall on a fence or some catastrophe happen with your livestock that you really need to be there to take care of. So this allows us to take care of the farm and do everything we need to do and still sell all the products and everything. And it was a rough start for a few years until we started adding other stuff from other farms to go with our stuff. And now there's a lot more, we have a lot more to offer to bring customers in, because you can come here, you can get local milk, eggs, meat, produce, all kinds of stuff. So I kind of feel like it's a one-stop shop every day where people can go get local food. And that brings more customers in, so we sell more of our pork. Along with that, we sell a lot of the stuff from other little farms around this area. So it gives other farms another outlet for their products. And it really, all that together, it really makes this a great place for the customer to be able to get everything off their shopping list. And I love hearing people say, now I don't have to go to Kroger's, or now I don't have to go to Walmart. I was able to get that here. You know, I had no idea. And another thing I like about the store, we have stuff in here. Most people have no idea how many different types of farms we have here in Southern Illinois, or how many different produce farms or livestock farms or apiaries or bakeries and stuff. Even people that come here for one thing, they see all the other stuff and they can learn about the other producers and try that kind of stuff too. And it's really working. You know, it's really important to be as convenient as possible. We've got stuff from around here. We've got stuff from around St. Louis. We've got stuff. We get a few dairy products from a couple Amish farms up by Arthur. I'm sure there's a lot more than that now. And it varies week to week. It just depends on who has a harvest, who brings in what. And another thing, I'm always trying to find more sources for stuff. I think we've got 5 or 6 different apiaries that we represent here. So we've got honey we've got Marion, Carbondale, Mulkeytown, Elkville. More choices. And I found the more choices they have, you could have pork chops from 5 different farms. You're going to sell more because there's more options, because every farm is different. The quality of that product, just because it's the same product, it's not going to be the same. it's different from every farm because every farm has different landscape. They have different things growing. They have different feed programs. You're not, it's not just the one type, one kind, one flavor. You got just a diversity of different things, and that really helps bring more people in too. Just more choices. We opened, well, around 2016 is when we stopped doing farmers markets and started just selling stuff from off the farm. It wasn't really a store back then. It was more just like a garage with, it actually had a gravel floor back then and an overhead door, garage door. When, we had our chest freezer and our little refrigerator that we would keep eggs in. We just, we would sell our products, and we did okay. We struggled the first few years. I mean, because we are kind of off the beaten path a little bit here. Then at some point last year, we started adding a few more products from a few other farms from the area. And we got just a really, really positive feedback from the customers. So we decided that we needed to try to cover all the bases. We need to have, I want to have everything here that you need to make a meal. I want you to be able to come here and shop and not have to go to the big grocery store to get too much of what you need. So we just keep adding stuff from as many different little farms in Illinois as we can, just to add and diversify the selection. And now people can come here and get everything from milk and eggs to cheese, produce, meat. And since we're in a small town, we also carry some convenience items, pop and potato chips and stuff like that. But it's really about the meat and that kind of stuff. We've got, at last count, there was over 30 other producers represented here in the store. Like looking right now, like there's an example. We've got a little bit of lamb from Secluded Springs Farm in Cesar. Of course, we've got our pork. We've got, we've got some chicken from the Flock Farm. They're located south of Carbondale. Here's some beef from a farm down in Buncombe called Sunrise Valley. They're 100% grass-fed and finished farm. They do a fantastic job. Here's some local pecans. Just everything I can possibly find. Yeah, we've got microgreens. We've got honey. We've got milk and eggs. We've got that Rolling Lawns milk. That farm is located in Greenville, Illinois. That's some of the best milk. It's so creamy. It's so good. We've got some cow milk and goat milk from Old Heritage Creamery. They're let's see, I believe they're located around Arcola, up north. Just as many different products as we can: chicken eggs, duck eggs, quail eggs. Here's some stuff that's really good. These guys are awesome. I'm sure you've probably heard of Marcotte Jersey Creamery. They have some of the best cheese, and they're actually located in the same area, Greenville, Illinois, as Rolling Lawns. I definitely recommend trying the cheese curds and the cork. It's just amazing. But anyway, I feel like I'm getting off the point a little bit. We're just really trying to have as many different products from as many different local farms as possible. I get a lot of enjoyment when I hear customers come in and they're real happy that they find everything they need here. They'll say, well, all right, I don't have to go to the grocery store now. I didn't know you had this. I didn't know. Oh, wow, that's great. I love that. That makes me feel like we're really doing a good job.
Oh, here's another. I think you can get this. They've got this stuff at the co-op, that Cahokia high protein rice. That's really good. All the Leapies canned produce here. They're, where are they? Just down the road between, around Culp, Crude Carnivore. Where's she out of? Carbondale. This right here is a really cool product. That is a herb infused bone broth for pets. It's really, really cool. She uses the marrow bones and stuff like from our hogs and from local chicken and the beef from the Sunrise Valley. So it's another collaboration between her local business and a few others. And it's a really fantastic product. I really get a kick out of just getting people together and seeing just what all kinds of cool stuff we can come up with. It's really something how many different types of farms and small producers and small family businesses. There's so much. Illinois is so lucky. Southern Illinois specifically, it's so rich with small farms. People, I feel like a lot of people have no idea the amazing different things that people do right here in this area. Like we get bread. We get bread from 2 different bakeries. One of them is a place in DuQuoin, Baked on Division. We get some other stuff, some sourdough and herb bread, and just cookies and stuff from a place in Mount Vernon. It's a little bakery restaurant, and that's all made from scratch. And they don't use the chemical preservatives and all the stuff that you can't pronounce. Stop by, give me a call, text me, message me on Facebook, let me know what you've got. I am always open to new local products.
All right. Well, it is, I'll say, having been in your farm store, it is amazing the amount of things that are packed in there. It's great. So we're going to have another another opportunity to ask Roger questions now. And so we have a few, but if you have any questions, type them in the chat. One thing I was curious about is Roger, have there been any surprises for you along the way as to what customers do want or don't want, or are there things that they're in particular looking for when they come to your store?
A lot of times people, when they first come out, they just want to check us out and see what we're all about and see what we do have. As far as what people are looking for, there's so much. They come to places like this because they're tired of all the, you go to the grocery store, they make you think that everything is like something it's not. You'll look at, let's take eggs, for example. You'll pick up a carton of eggs and look at the label. There's this pretty green field with a pretty red barn and chickens running around on the label. But in reality, that farm that, something like that was produced on doesn't look anything like those labels. People, they want to shop at places like this. They want the real deal. They don't want, something that you have to greenwash the label just to make it look appealing.
What's your very favorite product in your store?
My favorite, that's probably going to have to be my pork chops from our Heritage Hogs, followed closely by the bacon and apple bourbon bratwurst, which is another collaboration. That's another local business that does seasonings that we make brats out of, which is really good. If you've not tried them, I highly recommend it.
Great. Amy, do you have any other questions?
As a farmer, it goes just beyond growing crops and doing livestock. There's a pretty good network here in Southern Illinois. Can you talk a little bit about your connections with the other farms in the area?
A lot of the farms that we buy stuff from, they'll bring their stuff, they'll deliver it. They maybe might not sell as much at the farmer's market as they were hoping. So maybe they've got some extra, they can bring it to our store, and we're open every day. So it helps. Thank you, the brats.
Yeah, I think, to plug the co-op too, it's something that we take pride in, is that we work with the small farms. We don't have a lot of red tape. A lot of people will just start with one crop, one product, and try out what it's like to start a business.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing to have all these little local shops that can be an outlet for these local farms.
Right. And that's actually a part of the way we got started. When we pretty much just sold eggs, we brought all our eggs to the co-op, and that was our weekly. I mean, we didn't have to worry about selling. We knew, we can produce, and then we knew we had somewhere to take them. That's something I'm hoping to build here for more farms. I want to have a place like that, another place like that, to help. Farmers don't want to have to be salesmen. Farmers want to be farmers. They want to do their best taking care of their whatever product. They want to focus on that. The more time they have to spend trying to find different markets and customers, that's taken away time that they would probably rather be spending on the farm doing what's important.
Right. And we talked about this in some of the other sessions, just the quality of food that comes through. It's so different. I mean, you can tell the freshness, and I'm sure you get this, we get that, which is sometimes it's picked that day or brought in that day, and it's not sitting in a warehouse somewhere.
That's right. Another thing I'll add, we deal with the customers directly. So if our products aren't good, they're going to tell us, and they're not going to come back and buy more. So it's important that we produce the best product as possible without cutting corners, because when you have such a close connection to the consumer, if your product isn't top notch, they're not going to want to buy it. So, it's not like we can just drop our hogs off at a packing plant and we're done. We have to take them all the way from field to plate.
Right. We do have a question from the audience. They'd like to know a little bit more about your background. Did you grow up on a farm, and where did the inspiration come from?
When I grew, we had, chickens and stuff when I grew up, but it was certainly not a farm. One of my first jobs as a teenager was we would go pick up the hay bales out of the field and stack them and put them in the barn. That was on a cattle farm, actually, local. And I loved it. I thought that was just the greatest thing. I wanted to do something like that. And that's kind of what got me interested. But that was really my first experience farming. It is on that farm.
Right. Nice.
How long have you been on your farm?
We come out here and started this farm in 2012. At first, I said in the video, we started out just with a handful of chickens and a few pigs. None of what we're doing now was really planned out. It just developed over the years. Early on, the success of people wanting some pork, we raised a few more, and it just kind of grew from that. It was really, to look back now, it's amazing. It just seems like everything has worked out, and I feel like this is what we're supposed to be doing here.
Yeah, I think that's kind of an important message that we've heard from a lot of our speakers is that, you know, it started small. You didn't necessarily have that background or went to school to be a farmer. You tried something that you wanted to try, and trial and error, you got to where you are today.
Yeah, that, and I'll tell you what, we learned, we had to learn on the way as we were going. We learned so much from our mistakes, and you'd be surprised what you can learn from YouTube videos.
Great. Well, do we have any other, if we have any other questions for the audience, I'd say, or from the audience, I'd say get them in now. Roger, is there anything else that you want to add?
Come and check us out. The shop's open every day. We open at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's open until 6 p.m. We try to have as much in stock as we can. You'll find a lot of really great products from a lot of really great farms right around Southern Illinois.
Yeah, and you get to see the cute little pigs, and I know the piglets were right there by the road when we came for our visit. I know they move around, but it's pretty cute to see.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and just thank our, sorry, here we go. As we wrap up, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and a big thank you again to our sponsors. We would not be able to do this without their help. Real quick before we go, I want to share a little bit about our next, a little bit about our next session coming up tomorrow night. We're going to be hearing from 3 diverse small farmers who are all Southern Illinois Farm Beginnings graduates. And this is a program that FoodWorks runs to help beginning farmers or folks who are making maybe a small farmers who are making a big change in their business, or perhaps food producers who are using local ingredients. It's really a pretty expansive view of the idea of what is a farmer. We take a pretty expansive view, but we'll be hearing from 3 farmers: Megan DeGroot of Simple Gifts Flower Farm, Angela Batson of Envy Salons and Spa Services, and Mike Hatfield of Flyway Family Farm, which is a mushroom farm. We're going to talk with them each about a little bit about their business, how their business evolved, and what they've learned along the way. So I hope you can join us tomorrow night. And if you've registered for this session, then you'll be getting a link tomorrow afternoon. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us and say good night.
Thanks, Roger. Goodbye, everybody.
Yes, thank you.